Hello everyone and welcome back to Bogart on Movies. I am really excited because the Oscar season is officially underway. The nominations have been announced, so let's look at who the Academy picked and how my picks stack up against theirs. And of course today we're still going to have my classic movie analysis and my real hit, as well as Carla's Campy pick. And I'll answer your emails, so here we go. So here's what we're going to do. I made my picks last week, and then I put them in these sealed envelopes to be opened only after the Academy made its nominations. Well, until today, these envelopes were locked at our executive producer's desk, and now we're ready to see how we did. First, let's look at the Academy's Best Supporting Actress nominations. Here they are. Now I will unseal my Best Supporting Actress envelope. Here it is. And here's what I said. This category is the one that really has only a couple of choices for the win. Of course, my girl Jennifer Lawrence in American Hustle is the favorite. Girl is fantastic in everything she does. I thought we should watch out for Jean Squibb as well. She played Bruce Dern's wife in Nebraska, and she was terrific. Then there's Lupita Nyong'o, who was tremendous in 12 Years a Slave. I think she could nose out J-Law for the Oscar since Lawrence won last year. Add in Oprah Winfrey, absolutely good enough to get nominated for The Butler. Unfortunately, I thought the Academy would give another nod to Julia Roberts, not my favorite actress, but then who wouldn't look good when being carried by Meryl Streep? Ooh. So once again, here are the Academy's nominations. And again, here are mine. Jennifer Lawrence, Jean Squibb, Lupita Nyong'o, Oprah, and Julia Roberts. Now let's move on to Best Supporting Actor. And here are the Academy's nominations. This category is loaded. So let's open the next Bogart envelope. The favorite for me is Jared Leto. His depiction of the transvestite with AIDS in the Dallas Buyers Club was truly spellbinding. In fact, he should win the Oscar. But there were a number of other great performances in this category. You got Michael Fassbender frightening as the slave owner in 12 Years a Slave, and Bradley Cooper in Hustle. How good is this guy? After his breakout in Silver Linings Playbook, he's proven he is no one-shot deal. By the way, he was also great in The Place Beyond the Pines. I thought the Academy would also give James Gandolfini a nod for his funny but heartwarming portrayal in Enough Said. I felt it would be a fine tribute to him. And for my fifth nod, I went with Jonah Hill in The Wolf of Wall Street. You either hate or love this movie, but the acting was fantastic, and Hill's performance was right up there with DiCaprio, and that's saying something. Jonah's good in everything he does. Remember him in Django? He's good enough to win, but I think Leto should and will get it. So here again are the Academy's nominations. And here are mine. Jared Leto, Michael Fassbender, Bradley Cooper, James Gandolfini, and Jonah Hill. By the way, Daniel Bruhl could sneak in there for his turn as Niki Lauda in Rush. Now let's turn to Best Actress, and here are the Academy's picks. So that's what the Academy has said. But here's what I wrote. So I get the envelope. First, the award should be, I know this, between great Cate Blanchett absolutely brilliant in Woody Allen's Blue Jasmine. Does Woody not get the best performances out of his actors or what? And Emma Thompson, just terrific as P.L. Travers in Saving Mr. Banks. Thompson was perfect as the Mary Poppins writer. It's too bad that both these ladies have to fight it out amongst themselves. Blanchett, I think, will win, but who could argue if they gave it to Emma? I also thought that Judi Dench should and will get a nod as Philomena. It was a wonderful, heartfelt performance. But now we get to the last two spots. I thought, but I hope not, the Academy will give one to Meryl Streep, just because she gets nominated every time she's up, and Sandra Bullock, because I don't know why. I didn't love the movie, and I thought she did a lot of grunting and groaning and preening, not even in the same league with the others. Now, my last two nominations for Best Actress were Amy Adams for American Hustle. Again, she was just great, and it would be her 5th nomination. Too bad she's not going to win the Oscar. And for my last choice, I went for a real long shot, Greta Gerwig in Frances Ha. Not many saw this one, but the movie was really a joy, and she is just fantastic. I did not think she was going to be in the mix, but she deserves a nod. By the way, here's a shout out for Andrea Riseborough and the tremendous shadow dancer, and Elle Fanning in the little scene but very good Ginger and Rosa. See both those movies if you can, but I didn't think they'd get nominated. Well, now back to the choices. Here are the Academies. And here are mine. Cate Blanchett, Emma Thompson, Judi Dench, Amy Adams, and Greta Gerwig. Now we move on to Best Actor, and here are the Academy's nominations. And here are mine. Again, this is a loaded category this year with a number of great performances, and that makes this one very interesting. My picks begin with Bruce Dern in Nebraska. He was right on in this fantastic, spellbinding performance as the aging, booze-addled guy who makes the trek to Nebraska to claim his $1 million sweepstakes prize. Then there was Chiwetel Ejiofor for his astounding turn in 12 Years a Slave. Christian Bale, absolutely perfect in American Hustle. That comb-over in the opening scene was worth the price of admission. There's Leonardo DiCaprio for The Wolf of Wall Street. Whatever you think about the movie, the acting was fantastic, and Leo was in almost every scene. I felt he deserved the nod, as did Forrest Whitaker for his understated performance in The Butler. I said he was my favorite all along, and he's still right up there. But this category has so many fine performances in it, it's up in the air as to who's going to win the Oscar. I'll give that nod to Bruce Dern, but any one of my nominees would be certain winners any other year. Also in the running, but not my pick, is Matthew McConaughey in Dallas Buyers Club. He's made a lot of interesting movie choices this year, and in this he was as good as he can be, but come on, he's just not in the same talent league with the other nominees. And even though they were good, I didn't pick Tom Hanks for Captain Phillips or Robert Redford for All Is Lost. So here once again are the Academy nominees. And here are my picks: Bruce Dern, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Christian Bale, Forrest Whitaker, and Leonardo DiCaprio. Oh, and here's a shout out to Dennis Quaid in At Any Price and Riz Ahmed in The Reluctant Fundamentalist. See both those movies if you haven't yet. They are terrific. Now we move on to Best Director. And first, here are the Academy's nominations. So for me, this one was a no-brainer. I'm opening the envelope. And here it is. I think Steve McQueen was the best director of the Best Picture of the Year for 12 Years a Slave. Not only did I believe he'd be nominated, I thought and think he will win the Oscar. This movie had everything and then more, and McQueen's direction not only brought home the heartache and sensitivity of the subject, but the expanse of the time. McQueen, as any great director will do, guided all the actors to bravura performances. Brilliant camera work and scenery work all brought the story home, but McQueen made sure it didn't get in the way of the gut-wrenching truths of the story. As to the other nominees, I've got Alfonso Cuarón for Gravity. I thought most surely would get one, just because of its beauty. But there was no Life of Pi, and to me the movie was all about its beauty and not much more. As to the others, I picked David O. Russell to be nominated for American Hustle. Is he on his way to becoming the next Scorsese, snubbed until he finally wins for a lesser movie? I give another nod to Alexander Payne for Nebraska. It was terrific. I love this movie, and Payne told it like the master he's become, and the score was a perfect fit for this black and white beauty. As for the fifth director, it's a toss-up. The Academy loves Tom Hanks, so I figured it could go to Paul Greengrass for Captain Phillips or to Spike Jonze for Her. Anything with Joaquin Phoenix has a shot. I didn't think Scorsese would be nominated, but he could for Wolf of Wall Street. I think too many people couldn't take the movie for that. Anyway, here are the Academy's picks. And here are my five: Steve McQueen, Alfonso Cuarón, David O. Russell, Alexander Payne, and Spike Jonze for Her. I guessed he'd have a slim chance. And now we move on to the biggie, Best Picture. Now remember, they've really watered down this category. They can nominate up to 10 movies, but I don't see more than 5 even worthy of getting nominated. First, here are the Academy's nominees. Now for me, and I'm going to open the envelope. I wish I was Karnak. Remember him, Johnny Carson? Anyway, for me, the Oscar winner, hands down, will be 12 Years a Slave. So, of course, that was definitely one of my nominations. Interesting, emotional, terrific performances and direction, great screenplay, not a doubt in my mind. As to the others, American Hustle and Nebraska would surely be nominated. Gravity too, but I hope it doesn't win. It wasn't good enough. Philomena could also get a nod, and I hope the overlooked yet much-loved duo of Rush and Saving Mr. Banks would also get nominated. As to the best of the rest, I figured Captain Phillips will be in, maybe Her with Joaquin, maybe Dallas Buyers Club, maybe The Wolf of Wall Street. It's too bad that wonderful movies like Shadow Dancer with Andrea Riseborough, I mentioned before, and Ginger and Rosa, as I mentioned before as well, with an amazing Elle Fanning, came out so early in the year, because they're definitely better than some of those getting nods. Anyway, once again, here are the Academy's nominees. And here are mine. Remember, I said there are only about 5 deserving of nominations. There are a couple of deserving films that won't get recognized because they're not big enough. So my first 5 are 12 Years a Slave, Nebraska, American Hustle, Rush, and Saving Mr. Banks. The next 5 I figured they'd nominate are Philomena, Her, Dallas Buyers Club, Gravity, and Captain Phillips. I left out The Wolf of Wall Street because the subject matter wasn't deep enough to be great. Lee Daniels Butler I really liked, but it was a flawed film. Again, great performances though. Same with Blue Jasmine. So those are my picks in the Academy's nominations. Now the lobbying by the studios and the actors begins, and in March, the Oscar ceremony in Los Angeles, we'll find out the winners and the losers. Hey, I've been there with my mother, Lauren Bacall, when she was nominated for Mirror Has Two Faces. There is nothing like that spectacular event. Well, it's once again time for my classic pick, and this week we're going to look at what is simply one of the great movies ever made. And here is one of moviedom's most famous scenes from Billy Wilder's film noir classic, 1950's Sunset Boulevard.
This is a Hollywood story about the people who make the movies. The little ones that you never hear of, like Betty and me. The great ones, like Cecil B. DeMille. All those who knew Norma Desmond, a strange woman who left her mark on all of us, who crossed her path. Has it ever occurred to you that I may have a life of my own, that there may be some girl that I'm crazy about?
Who? Some car hop or dress extra?
What I'm trying to say is that I'm all wrong for you. You want a Valentino, somebody with polo ponies, a big shot.
What you're trying to say is you don't want me to love you. Say it. Say it.
Makes you want to watch the movie right now, doesn't it? The voice, of course, was William Holden as Joe, and the actress Gloria Swanson as Norma Desmond. The movie's pure Hollywood, and it's about Hollywood. It's the story of the fading silent film star trying to make it one more time. Holden and Swanson were just terrific. How good an actor was William Holden anyway? Just wonderful. And Swanson, she lost the Oscar not to Bette Davis, who was nominated for All About Eve and who should have won anyway, but to the gorgeous Broadway star and singer Judy Holliday for Born Yesterday. Davis said she and Swanson canceled each other out. Then the rest of the cast, Erich von Stroheim, Nancy Olson, and you saw him, Jack Webb. Yep, my name's Friday, I'm a cop. That's Jack Webb. And how about Billy Wilder, the great Billy Wilder? He directed and co-wrote it with Charles Brackett. Wilder is without a doubt in the top 5 directors of all time, and closer to number 1 than 5. Just look up his filmography. Directing and writing, astounding. Here, Swanson stars in and Holden narrates one of the classic scenes with one of the classic lines in film.
I'm ready.
All right. Cameras. Action! So they were turning after all. Those cameras. Life, which can be strangely merciful, had taken pity on Norma Desmond. The dream she had clung to so desperately had enfolded her.
I can't go on with the scene. I'm too happy. Mr. DeMille, do you mind if I say a few words? Thank you. I just want to tell you all how happy I am to be back in the studio, making a picture again. You don't know how much I've missed all of you. And I promise you I'll never desert you again. Because after Salome, we'll make another picture and another picture. You see, this is my life. It always will be. There's nothing else. Just us. And the cameras. And those wonderful people out there in the dark. All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Strange, strange actress. By the way, that was the real Cecil B. DeMille. The movie also has that real-life feel. Not only real people playing themselves in cameos like Hedda Hopper, Ann DeMille, and others, the characters actually refer to real actors and actresses during the movie. There's so much here. This one's a treat. Go out and enjoy it. Now it's time to check out the Bogart on Movies mailbox. Joseph in West Palm Beach says, Disney made a live-action sequel to The Wizard of Oz in 1985 called The Return to Oz. Even though it starred Nicole Williamson and Jean Marsh, it was dull and dreary. Why do you think the sequel failed? Joseph, there are so many reasons. The first being that if you make a sequel to any great classic, it's just not going to work. Never has, never will. Add in no Judy Garland, no Ray Bolger, no Jack Haley, no Burt Lahr, no Margaret Hamilton. You get my drift. Casablanca without Bogart, Gone with the Wind without Gable, Citizen Kane without Orson Welles. Come on. Now, John in Fort Lauderdale wants to know, with cable, overseas distribution, Netflix, and other movie subscription services, do any movies really lose money, or does it just take longer for a real stinker to cover its costs and then some? Well, John, it depends on who you ask. If you ask the studio, every movie loses money, basically because the studios include all the actors' salaries, theater reimbursements, distribution costs, promo costs, and every other cost you can think of in the bottom line. Not only that, they can also use the profit from one film to offset the losses of another. Of course, if you ask the actors, the studio accounting system is built to show a loss. Just as an example, both Harry Potter, Order of the Phoenix, and Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, which each made almost $1 billion, ended up losing money. Bottom line, John, if it was so easy to make money, everyone would be doing it. Remember, you can email me at stevebogart@wxel.org and be sure to include your name and your hometown. Thanks a lot. Well, we're moving from Oscars to Carla's Campy Picks, and this time Carla's dug deep for this one. But she's not dug as deep as the depths to which some stars went to make this pure payday picture. Working hard for the money, honey, in this one are screen legends John Huston, Shelley Winters, and Henry Fonda. It's the 1977 total ripoff of Jaws called Tentacles.
Each year, 10,000 tourists visit Ocean Beach. This summer, Ocean Beach has attracted something else. American International presents Tentacles. It slept until man disturbed it. Then it woke with a fury no man could control, rising from the ocean floor to bring destruction and death. Tentacles. A chilling tale of nature gone wild as two of the sea's deadliest enemies fight to the death. Starring John Huston, Shelley Winters, Bo Hopkins, Claude Akins, and Henry Fonda. Tentacles. The most gripping suspense you will ever experience. Rated PG.
Now, it doesn't happen that often, but every once in a while you see a movie and you come out of it speechless because you know that you've seen movie greatness. That was what I felt when I left this week's Real Hit. I knew, just like everyone else who saw it knew, that I'd watched not just a movie, but an artistic creation. The movie was Steven Spielberg's 1993 drama, Schindler's List. Boy, even that trailer is so difficult to watch. This movie is Steven Spielberg at his very best. Stars Liam Neeson, Ralph Fiennes, and Ben Kingsley, and a wonderful supporting cast. But it's the movie, the total package, that puts it in almost everyone's top 10 of all time. It was nominated for 12 Academy Awards and won 7, including Best Director for Spielberg and Best Picture. It was the first black and white movie to win an Oscar since 1960. You don't even think about it being in black and white, do you? Well, it was, except for this. Remember The Girl in Red?
Let's go, please. Come on.
That is just brilliant movie making. You know, any movie about the Holocaust is going to have its critics. Some said it wasn't real enough, but this is not a documentary. It's a movie based on truth. It's a movie Billy Wilder called perfection. In fact, Stanley Kubrick, who abandoned his own Holocaust movie, may have said it best when talking about the brilliance of Schindler's List. He said, quote, "The Holocaust was about 6 million people who get killed. Schindler's List is about 600 who don't."